Meet Your Legislators. That is a segment sponsored by the North Dakota Petroleum Council and the Lignite Energy Council. Gives us a chance to meet members of the North Dakota legislative body. And our guest today is a Republican from District 22 representing Castleton. He is the chair of the Finance and Taxation Committee, which is a very important committee here in getting all this good work done in the state legislature. Please welcome Senator Mark Weber. Hi, Senator.
Yes, good morning, and thank you, Scott, for letting me be here.
Yeah, appreciate it. You're a relatively new member of this body.
Yes. I will just be beginning my third session here. So I was elected 4 years ago and then recently reelected.
And already a chairman, and if term limits hold to the current law, you'll be done before you know it, right?
With the term limits, I think the challenge is, yes, I was recently named the chairman of Finance and Tax. I'm only into my third session, one more session, and then I'll be history myself. I'm on a learning curve myself to get my arms wrapped around all of this. We're dealing with nearly 1,000 bills. And it's my view that if we could reduce that volume of bills to cut it in half, we could have much more meaningful debate on the remaining bills. There's just so much information coming in from all angles, and it's a challenge for all of us to get our arms wrapped around this. And then I see when the term limits now are in play, like I said, in 2 more years I'll be done. We'll already have to find another chairman. And with the amount of bills and information, it's a challenge that we have to figure out how we're going to address that and deal with that.
Talk a little bit about this session so far and the workflow you're seeing and what your overall assessment is.
Well, I would look at it this way. First of all, I want to commend the governor. He's taken some leadership here to try to make property tax reform his sort of signature bill, if you will, and I support that. The debate is, when we came into this session, I think everybody agreed that, residential property is the challenge that we want to try to deliver. But now, of course, we have agriculture starting to weigh in. And, of course, I'm an ag guy. Everybody knows it coming from rural Cass County. And now what is the right mix? How will we fashion that? I think now, as we get close to crossover, we are hopeful that each chamber will have a bill out, and then we can begin, putting that all together. But it's going to heat up here pretty quick. I think for any property tax reform bill to be successful, we've got to have reform. We can provide the relief, but we've got to have reform. And of course, the buzzword is talking about putting caps, on property tax increases with political subs. And I would say this, that if we don't do that, if we pass a relief package without reforms, we will fail in the long run. And I think this has been demonstrated in the past. I think the former governor, Burgum, was right when he said, we've given away $1.7 billion in property tax relief, and yet over the long run, property taxes continue to rise. So to me, a very important element is how will we apply the cap so we can control spending. And of course, one of the challenges, no one size fits all. You have growing communities that are, growing by leaps and bounds, and then we have other communities that are on the downhill slide. So one size will not fit all. I think that could even be the more difficult piece of the puzzle to solve, if you will.
A couple things. One, you mentioned agriculture, and they're currently not in the governor's proposal. Should they be?
Well, again, when we started, the buzzword was to try to do residential, and now agriculture is starting to speak up. Agriculture is a $32 billion industry. When we look at a lot of the very rural communities, agriculture pays a big part of the bill, particularly in education. 50-60% comes from agriculture to pay for that. And so, yes, I think agriculture is at the table, and I'm hopeful at the end of the day that we can get something for agriculture. What that will be is very hard to predict at this time.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I live in a residence on my farm, I'm exempt from property taxes right now.
That is correct. If you have 2/3 of your income from agriculture, then that you would be exempt. And the reason that was put in, it was recognized years back that in the very rural areas where agriculture is paying the brunt of the bill, if you will, that was put in there to acknowledge that hey, agriculture is paying a big part of that bill, particularly in these rural areas, and so that is why that was put in law.
What else is the farm groups wanting? Is it a reduction on taxes on farmland?
Well, they're starting to speak up now. Yes, most definitely. Now, if you look at the bigger part of the picture, another important part of this puzzle is, we are sorely deficient in our rural infrastructure. We've got bridges and roads, and I look at that all as one big package. Does it go property tax relief? Do we get more for bridges and roads? And I think Senator Wanzik will probably be sharing with you that he's got a big proposal in there to get some of the motor vehicle excise tax to go away from out of the general fund and put it back into township roads and bridges. So that is a big part of the puzzle. So I look at it in a holistic approach. If the mindset is to deliver for residential, maybe at the end of the day we get more for bridges and roads. There's so many moving pieces here, and I look at it as one package, if you will.
What other things are a priority for you this session?
Well, obviously property tax relief. Secondly, of course, is to try to shore up our aging infrastructure, particularly at the township and county level. And I would say third thing, too, one of the things I worked on quite a bit is improving the management of farm drainage. Farm drainage in the Red River Valley, we wouldn't be farming without farm drainage. And we have to continue to do that in a managed way, if you will. And we've still got more work to do to shore that up. We have problems, and we have to shore that up. So I would say that's another priority for me.
We talked a lot about agriculture. Let's talk about the energy side a little bit. Obviously, you continue to have a lignite industry under attack from the federal level and from sort of just the woke world that thinks somehow affordable, reliable energy that's always on is a bad idea, right? We don't, but they fight those battles. The oil and gas industry, some of the same things. We're starting to see a lighter touch from the Trump administration, obviously, but that ship is a Titanic, and it's hard to move one way or the other, this big giant carrier. And yet I saw a study today that says $32 billion have poured into the state and gone to every corner of the state from oil and gas revenue, which is enormous amounts of money. Talk a little bit about the energy side and those industries and what you'd like to see.
Absolutely. I'm a big supporter of the ethanol industry. We raise a lot of corn at our farm, and that's a big market, and we want to hang on to that market. And so when we're talking about carbon capture and all of that, I think that's very critical. The coal industry continues to be criticized, from EPA and all of that, and so if we can sequester this carbon, develop a low carbon fuel from the ethanol industry, that gives us another potential market. At the same time, we know that if you take carbon and you put it down into an oil well, you can increase the production of the oil out of that well, if you will. And then secondly, if it's a way of capturing that carbon from the coal industry, we've got we need base load power. And the coal industry is what delivers the base load power, and we do not want to jeopardize losing that. So that's why I'm a big fan of this carbon capture, putting it into the pipe, getting into the ground. Yes, there's some problems still to work out, but we need to do that. It's the right thing to do. It'll enhance our energy sector, and it will enhance agriculture.
And two things that are obviously expenditures. So as a bean counter or someone that's seen these requests come through, obviously before they go to appropriations, the lignite industry is paying enormous sums battling in court. And so I know they're looking for some help in that regard because that's a battle. And the oil and gas industry is saying if we took the current research that goes into enhanced oil recovery or these things that'll do, and we 4x it, 5x it from 16 million to 60. And then we get matching dollars from the industry. You could have a new pot of $120 million that would move the commercial widespread use of this up sooner. Are those things that are worthy of expenditures right now?
Well, we are an energy powerhouse, and we need to capitalize on that. I see energy and agriculture as going hand in hand. Agriculture is a $32 billion industry, so that's why I see this, with the carbon pipeline pulling together with agriculture and energy. We really are a powerhouse, and we want to enhance that for the good of our state and for the good of the nation. Anything
else you want to tell our listeners?
No, I think we're on track. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got to get our bills moved out in quick fashion. I think next week, any bill that has an appropriations on, we've got to get it kicked out so the Appropriations Committee can take a look and be ready to go by crossover. And then I think after crossover is when the real work begins. This is interesting. In our Senate Finance and Tax Committee, we've had 21 bills to deal with. My good friend and colleague, Representative Craig Hedlund, who chairs the House Finance and Tax, he's got 55 bills to deal with. So I kidded him the other day. I said, Representative Hedlund, I hope you kill about 3/4 of them. Send us a few good ones, and we'll go from there. So there you have it.
Meanwhile, get some sleep while you can, too. This is a crazy pace, isn't it?
Very much so.
A lot going on. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Senator Mark Weber, who chairs the Senate Finance and Tax Committee, also serves on the Ag and Veterans Affairs Committees as part of the 69th Legislative Assembly from Bismarck. And our Meet Your Legislator segments brought to you by the North Dakota Petroleum Council and the Lignite Energy Council. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.